Sat Shri Akal, Namaste. Welcome to the Love, Laugh, Live chat show with Dav Ubi and Gurdial Garcha.
So प्यार करो हंसो ते जुग जुग जियो वाला शो. So शो शुरू करन तो पहला एक कहना है
Love with passion.
Laugh with pleasure.
And live with peace.
So ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਕੀ ਹੈ?
So ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰੋ ਸਾਰੇ ਦਿਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ.
ਹੱਸੋ ਦਿਲ ਭਰ ਕੇ.
ਤਾਂ ਜੀਓ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ.
So my name is Devinda Ruby. I'm a life and spiritual coach, and sitting next to me, my beautiful.
My name is Gurdial Garcha, and I'm an empowerment and resilience coach. So, Dav, what's our topic for today?
So आज the topic है we're going to talk 8 spiritual gifts. But I know we're talking 8, but आज we're going to talk about mainly 2 of the spiritual gifts. And what are these spiritual gifts? These spiritual gifts that we're not aware of. So now आपको नहीं पता, but we all have them. And it's like when we say we have a soul mission, because सारे soul purpose है कि mission है कि
Atma.
Yes, that's right. So the Atma, the mission है कि But the truth is that your soul is a gift not just to you, but it's a gift to the whole world, to the whole dunya. And we're all carrying this gift, but we're not aware. So पता नहीं हैगा.
Yeah, so ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਦਾਂ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਲੋਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਖਾਸ we're nobody special. So ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਗਿਫਟ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਇਹ ਹਰੇਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਵੋਲਵ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸੰਤ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਟੀਚਰ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ everybody knows about these really famous people, but we are just as special and we also have those spiritual gifts within us.
It's like you said, I grew up, मैं भी जब छोटी सी I used to think that ਜਿਹੜੇ कोई संत महात्मा बड़े powerful है, they have these powerful gifts, they're born with these gifts, and even you hear people who they're psychic readers, and we go to these people who do these read into the future and all sorts of things. So you think you're born with these powerful spiritual gifts that they're more special. There's something Rab Rab has chosen them, but there's no one chosen. Rab doesn't choose anyone because we are all just as equally powerful, but we have forgotten. ਅਸੀਂ ਭੁੱਲ ਗਏ ਹਾਂ that always ਸਾਡੇ gifts ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ. That, but we just somehow think that ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਂ and that we're not important. We have no value in this world. That we look up to other people thinking they're more powerful. ਇਹ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ special ਹੈ ਕੋਈ ਆਤਮਾ.
Yeah, and ਇਹ recognize ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਨਾਲੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਆ ਕਿ we are all special, and ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ time ਕੱਢ ਕੇ we focus on this side of our life, the spiritual side, although we're all spiritual beings, that ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ we can also achieve that kind of feeling of being so like I don't know, special, I suppose, and not compare ourselves and think that ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਨੀਵੇਂ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉੱਚੇ ਆ, because that's definitely not the case. ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੱਬ ਦੀ law ਆ, it's the same in every single person.
That's right. It doesn't matter ਕੋਈ ਪਾਪੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਕੋਈ ਸੰਤ ਮਹਾਤ ਹੋਵੇ, ਰੱਬ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਦਾ. You know, they say it doesn't matter, ਰੱਬ unconditional love ਆ. ਜੋ Mother Teresa ਹੋਵੇ, Hitler ਹੋਵੇ, ਰੱਬ ਨੇ just going to see the love in every being.
Yeah, because we're all God's children. And through explaining about the first 2 spiritual gifts, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ explain ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ, and then you can celebrate the person that you are, just especially if you're in the time in your life where you feel like you're nobody special. This message is for you more than anybody else.
I think when we explain it, we're going to explain it the best way we can. As coaches, and also realize that her gifts ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਾਵਾਂਗੇ. We haven't even noticed. We take it for granted, and we just see these gifts as actually a burden, but actually they're not. They're actually something there to help every single person on this planet. So we want to explain that, especially most people have this belief that I'm meaningless. I have no worth in this world. You know, जो मैं कल चल गई अगले हफ्ते next year. That मेरी के नहीं बॉदर करनी है, मेरी के नहीं किसी ने कदर करनी है.
Nobody's going to notice.
Nobody's going to notice because that's how much you think that. You know, there's more important people in the world. मेरे तो ज़्यादा वधिया, मेरे को ज़्यादा they're more great.
बड़े हो आजा.
But whatever.
Things like that,
yeah. But we're trying to explain today that you are very important. You just being here it has a great value to every other human being because you're all interconnected. So how we think and what we're going through has a ripple effect on every other human species on this planet and animal species and everything.
Yeah, because like Dav said, we're all interconnected, although sometimes we feel like we're not, we're alone. But anyway, so the first gift, touching people's hearts when you are not aware of it, and even when no one says thank you. So how often it happens to you that no one says thank you, but then one day in the future a certain person comes back to you and says, well, you said something to me that was so important, so powerful back at that time, and it changed my life. And they touch their heart, but they don't even know. So if I was to have a conversation or say something, I don't know how much I'm affecting somebody. But maybe down the line, years and years later, they come back to me and say, well, you know, that was something that you said, and I probably wouldn't even remember, you wouldn't even remember what that conversation, ki ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਤੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਅਸਰ ਪਿਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਆ.
So there's so many examples here we can give that ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਾਮੂਲੀ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ we're in a restaurant ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ but the person on the next table ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣ ਲਈ but ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ it's something that touched that person's ਦਿਲ and they found an answer, they found some sort of clarity, they found some awareness that something that was troubling them and really bothering them, but listening to our conversation and you know you took the information and he came something exactly what he needed to do in his next step to his journey. But he probably never said thank you to us, but we gave that gift. That was a spiritual gift. Us having that conversation helped that person, but we didn't ask for a thank you.
Naale jado ida hundi hai, like if we're having a conversation about something that's really important, koi challenge hogi, koi okha time hoga, you know, we're trying to work through our problem, but pata nahi hega kaun sunda ya ta kede ਉਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਕੰਨ 'ਚ ਪੈਣੀਆਂ ਆ. Just like whoever's watching this program, who may watch it now, may watch it in the future, they will benefit, but maybe not on the day that this program goes out. It could be at a different time. But whoever's going to be affected will be affected. Everything has divine timing, and you will understand this more and more, especially as we become older. We've got a couple of stories where we know that we have affected other people and they have come back and said, oh, you know what, you actually made me such a better person than I had imagined that I could be, in terms of confidence. कि मैं नहीं सोचा भी मैं आ कर सकता हूँ या आ कर सकती हूँ. But sometimes a conversation I'm having with you and somebody else hears it, the benefits, we don't know how far those benefits go, because really they could go for generations, not even for the first generation.
It just continue. But it's like I said, we're at the right place and we're at the right time. Rab sanu उसे सही वक्त ते सही जगह ले आंदा कि जिसे वो मैसेज वो conversation सुननी हुंदी है, and we don't know, it happens spontaneously आपे हो जाती है, and but we're not even looking for so like मैंने कोई thank you करे, we're just in a normal conversation, but Rab knows that whoever needs to listen जिन्हें गल सुननी है, it's going to help them in the next journey on their soul mission. You know, so we are all helping each other like this. But this is what we're trying to say here. The gift here that we don't know is kisi nu madad karde hain. Kede vele. But we know we just become a vessel. Rab sort of like working through us, getting the message across. But we're not looking for a thank you. You know, it just happens. But maybe, like I said, weeks or years later, somebody might come back to you and say, you know, I remember you, I heard something what you said to me, and mere dil vich oh gal beh gayi, but I knew exactly what I needed to do, you know, but then I was so focused on taking my next step. But I had to meet you so many years later, but now I can say thank you to you. And we probably think, I can't remember having that conversation, but I'm so glad it helped you. But in a way, that's a spiritual gift, that's a gift we have. We don't know that we are helping other people and without wanting anything in return. Asli seva, this is the most purest form of helping somebody when we don't want vapas hanu kuch milena, but helping someone फिर भी साड़ी कर्म बन जाते हैं.
Yeah. And also, you know, it could come through messages. I mean, when we're talking, like, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, it's like God's working through us to tell you something. It could be something that's completely spontaneous. कि मैं कुछ कह सकती हूँ, I could say to Dao, I need to tell you this. I don't know why, but I feel like I need to tell you something. This is just like a message or something that I've had a dream about this. It was just a thought. It could be from anywhere, but only Dav will know the meaning of the deeper message in what I've said. And if she, at that time ये सोचती हो सकती है कि ओ इन्हें मैंने पता नहीं मैंने कहते इन्हें इधर किया है. It happens all the time, but it depends if you're willing to look deeper into that message. But I mean, you had an example where somebody, you know, when Oprah Winfrey was on the TV and you were saying that you needed that message at that specific time while you were doing the Hoover.
Exactly. I mean, this is going back 20 years now, and I was just got this again. I was doing the vacuum, you know, and all of a sudden, in me, something said, "Put the TV on, put the TV on." Thinking, "Mahuwa karti safai karti on TV," but you sometimes you have to listen to those impulses.
It's your inner voice, isn't it?
So my TV on kite, and it was so interesting because at that time I was going through some sort of challenging time. Kafi mushkil time ja raha si, and I was in a way, jab mushkil time aa we don't know asi dilo ke bari sari ardas ho jandi hai. We say sometimes pata nahi Rab mainu koi rasta dikha lo. How do I resolve this? Main kita you know, how can I deal with the situation, you know, in a much more peaceful way? And anyway, I must have sent that ardas. And then when I put the TV on, it was Oprah Winfrey show. She was talking to this guy called Gary Zukov, and the conversation they were talking about exactly what I was going through, the challenging time. But it was interesting because they were giving the advice, the guidance, and how to deal with the situation like that. So that's what I'm trying to say. Some spontaneous thing that happens, and you get this important, you know, awareness and learning. And then, but even though I couldn't say thank you to them, but in my heart it helped me exactly what decision I had to make. So that's what I'm saying. These sort of things, that was their spiritual gift to Oprah Winfrey and Gary. So another gift they had to, Rab worked through them, you know, to get the message that I was seeking for. So even though I couldn't personally thank them, but I got my answer. And we're all doing that. Sometimes asi koi gal kisi nu keh denne ha, I'm sure tusi kisi nu tusi jande honge that, you know, somebody's come back to you kinne salan baad or hafteyan baad mahine baad saying I'm oh thodi gal hamesha yaad manu rendi hai, because, you know, I remember now when I had a problem handi, and I remember how you discussed it and how you explained it. I know what to do. So you became a spiritual gift you're carrying, you didn't even know. It's been helping this person throughout their lives.
I mean, I can use the example of मैं 18 साल हो गए मैंने स्कूल लंच काम कर दी, you know, helping children pastorally. ਤਾਂ जिन्हां दी कोई प्रॉब्लम ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਕਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ, ਪਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ they're not noticing what you're saying, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਖਾਨੇ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦੀ, they're not ready to receive that information, so because they're busy in their own lives. But some of those children, years and years afterwards, have said, oh, Miss Garcher, you know, I really understood what you meant, and that did help me to take a different path on my life. Otherwise, I could have ended up just getting married to the first person and, you know, not realising my own potential or what I actually wanted to do with my life. So, sanu pata nahi hai, sometimes we say these things and we hope that koi na koi eda jeda gone hai, it should have a positive effect on somebody, but we don't know. So I'm not saying we should wait for that to come back to us, but ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਦੇ from a pure heart and you want to help somebody, regardless of whether that comes back as a thank you to you or not, you've done your bit. And that is where we believe genuinely that God is working through us to convey something who at that specific time needs that message. And they come in different ways. Messages come in different ways. It can be a billboard, it can be something on the radio, the TV, it could be even children. You know how we said, we were talking earlier, we were talking about children, about how they're so innocent, and you mentioned, you know, when they're saying something and we don't always take it seriously.
Chote bache, because sometimes with bache they haven't had a life experience, they haven't got the wisdom, you know, and they haven't had the experience to actually make an adult understand.
And
but
they're
I
not
just
conditioned,
think, but I think bache are so pure. Jo bhi kuch muh chone gal nikal rahi hai na, I just think sachi Rab the message hundi
Yeah.
because they're not being conditioned by then, and it's coming out of purity. So sometimes a bachcha could say something that's the spiritual gift. Okay, bachcha's not even looking for me to thank you karo. You know, that's what I mean, the innocence, the inner child always sade andar vasta, even though we adults, that bachpan energy or abdi energy hundi hai, that is naturally just when the information, the guidance comes out. So I just think my own kids, I've learned so much. I don't think because I'm their mother that I know better. Sometimes the Rab will work through my child, and my child will say something, and I'm thinking, you know, that is the most beautiful thing I've heard, and the most, you know, something like I think with the child, the gift they have when you watch them, they might have a tantrum, you know, and then they might have a tantrum, and then you learn from a child thinking 5 minutes baad it's like kuch hoya nahi. They don't hold on to grudges, they don't hold on to stories, and I think they're the biggest form of guidance, and they give us that awareness, like I've just learned from my child, you know, that it's so easy just to let go of the story. And sometimes just watching that child doing that every time again and again, that should be a learning to us. As you go a gal fadi hoya minu ki milda vicho je bachcha, you know, is showing me exactly this is how we live through life, through our experiences. My bachcha is my guru at the moment.
And also we had this caller who said, how can you be friends with your child? And I think it's about just having that open conversation. You know, we should be honoured and also learn from our children, because they are telling us things that sometimes we need to hear. You know, the innocence and the forgiveness and things like that. So you know, that's where sometimes, you know, it's important to cherish our children's messages to us. And we're not always right. As parents, we're not always right. It's important to learn from and receive messages from wherever they come. Yeah.
And I think as the older you get, we get more sort of like in our programs and the way we've been conditioned, automatic behavior, we learn to react. I see we don't get time to think about the actions we're going to do. We just do it spontaneously and automatic. But bachas, sometimes they're the biggest guidance to us. And I always think that the spiritual gifts, they are sort of like demonstrating them on an every daily basis, but slowly when the child gets older and older, it starts getting conditioned, he starts forgetting about the spiritual gifts.
So that's the first spiritual gift. So touching people's hearts when you are not aware of it, and even when people don't say thank you. Just remember, you've done your bit. Whatever you needed to convey, that's the most important thing. So no matter what, one thing is that you touch people even when no one says thank you. And sometimes it can be meant for the third person.
Yeah, and I think also it's very important to remember that when we are helping somebody, but this is what we're talking about, spiritual gifts, and we're even helping. This is happening unknowingly, it's happening just naturally.
And because we just, generally speaking, people want to help. You know, they just do, don't they? As human species, we do want to help.
We do want to help, but that sort of help, we're making like a conscious decision. This is not happening consciously, this is happening naturally. It's like we're just becoming Rab, we're just using
like a vessel.
Like a vessel. He's coming through and speaking what we need to say for the person who needs to hear this. But sometimes we've got to remember, when is this happening, when it's not happening. So when we are thinking that we're helping somebody and it's coming from a place of it's already thought of, and it's like there's a hidden agenda behind it, because in a way we think that I want some validation, I want some approval from someone, and that is not coming, that message, that guidance is not really a gift. There's a fear-based intention behind that, because you are seeking something in return. Then you know that's not a spiritual gift. And you can actually feel it in your body as well, because when you're doing it through a natural way, sometimes you don't even have a memory of what you said. So people come back to you weeks or even the next day they can come back and say, oh, thanks for that information. You think, I can't remember, what did I say? And then when you can't remember it, then you know that wasn't you making it up, that's just something that came naturally through you. But if you remember every little detail, then you know that's you thought of it, and in a way there's something that you wanted, some sort of recognition, you wanted something in return, that you wanted to seem that, look, I'm important, I know what I said to you, I hope you remember this.
Yeah, and I think within our culture sometimes कदी-कदी इदा हुंदी है कि ਅਸੀਂ ਅਗਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਬ ਨਾਲ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹਾਂ, especially with you know the older generation and the younger generation, ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੋਬ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ, ਅਸੀਂ ਸਹੀ ਹਾਂ, so you have to listen to us. So that's not a spiritual gift, that is just us, ਅਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ this is the way to live. But what we're talking about when it's a spiritual gift, it's something that's just free, it's easy and it's natural. It's not something that's been going around in your head. So it's like it's an automatic thing. It's not something that's been thought through. So therefore that's why it's a gift, and there's nothing that you want back from that person. And it's coming from such a beautiful place, of naturally wanting to just help that person in whichever way they need the help.
Yeah, but it's like you said, it's some sort of help we've done. We don't even know as that's the spiritual gift, when we don't even realize we've done it.
It's free.
Yeah, it's free. But then even though whatever you give out is energy. It's just the way the law works, universal law works, that energy has to flow. So whatever we're giving out, what we intentions and pyar, it will come back. That's what we call the karma.
Yeah.
It's a boomerang effect, isn't it? So what it goes out will come back. And sometimes you think that, something happened and you got this wonderful opportunity just fell in your lap, thinking, oh God, I must have done something good in my life. I don't know what. When you say that, this come into my life. And these are the things that you allowed yourself to be that vessel where Paramatma has worked through you. And I'm sure you'll be listening to this program, you probably remembering things that when some people have come back to you and thinking, this is when you recognize this is a spiritual gift we're carrying, and we didn't have to be some big Sant Mahatma or someone important, someone very sort of like a celebrity or someone famous in the world. It's just showing you that you are just as powerful and incredible human being, that you've got all these abilities or these spiritual gifts.
And the thing with gifts and spiritual gifts is that we give something where we don't expect anything back. Whenever we give a gift, and we've mentioned this before, we have an expectation, so there's some kind of contract going there, and what we're talking about is where you do something freely, and maybe in some ways unconsciously you're just doing it because that's a message that God is working through you to give to somebody else who needs to hear that. It could be that you're sitting on a bus having a conversation, but somebody is listening and they're taking on board what you've said because they needed to hear that at that specific time. So it's almost like there's divine intervention going on that we don't even know about.
We do this program, we're just thinking, we do our das, Paramatma, whoever needs to hear us, they'll be at the right place at the right time, and when they're ready for this awareness or whatever new way of thinking, new way of apna sochna, then the message will come across. And so we just do it with that, Rab just use us and just speak through us, and whoever needs the help, it will happen naturally. So we're not saying we want that particular person, no, we're just thinking, Rab, who is meant to listen to this, Rab automatically will bring this together.
So there could be different ways of receiving those messages. So it could be like a sense of humor, it can be, like you love working through the mind, those kind of things, passionately singing, we spoke about all these different things, sports, fitness, that's your gift to the world, and through that you're giving something to so many different people that you don't even know how you're touching people's hearts. And yes, you are going to get something back, but you're just doing something that's naturally easy to you.
So what you're passionate about, and then what you really enjoy, and to see you're in that element of just enjoying, you're in that energy, in that state of just like somebody who's a sportsman, they're just loving their sports, but you don't know, through that you're helping, inspiring somebody else, and they're getting that help of what to do in their life. Like I said, I'm passionate about loving the concept about learning the mind, how it works, and the universal laws. And when I'm just in my element, I'm just talking about it and just I don't know who's listening out there, and they get the answers. And you're so good. Like when you get into your sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know, and like humor is very contagious. Yeah. So you're having a good laugh with me, but somebody else could be listening, and they just felt this sense of relief.
Yeah.
You know, but you're not asking to be thanked, but you're just happy doing what you're doing. I'm happy what I'm doing. The sportsman is happy what they're doing. The artist is happy. The singer's happy. But they don't realize that they're helping somebody out there. This is the spiritual gifts we carry.
Yeah, and whatever your spiritual gift is, you may not even know that you have one. It's something that you're at, you know, life, you know, you could just be the main person in the family, making sure that everything's done in the house, and your role is so important. And that's your gift to everybody else. Yeah. So spiritually, you know, we're not saying you've got to be a certain kind of person. We're talking about the gifts that you can share with others. But within the family, you know, the list is endless. You know, you might be somebody that brings people together because you've got that way of speaking. They want to come because you've got that really lovely, positive energy, and you know, where there's positivity and happiness and harmony, because they want to feel that energy. And
maybe you have such a nice way of cooking, the way you prepare your food and the way you present it, and then you make somebody, that's a spiritual gift, because you make someone else just feel better just eating your food and the way it's presented, whatever. But it's the PR you put in it. And there's so many things that we don't realize. These are spiritual gifts that we're carrying, and we sometimes say this is an everyday thing. Mamuli is no big deal. You know, but these are very this. Whatever you're doing, and passionate, it is helping somebody out there. And it's like a ripple effect. So let's say somebody felt so good eating your food, they're feeling better, and they've gone somewhere else, and they've uplifted somebody else because they're feeling better, and then it just carries on, like they call it the butterfly effect. It just carries on and on and on. And this is how we're interconnected, that one person feeling good and then it just doesn't stop. It's like a ripple. And
even after the person's gone, you know, if we think about our mums, the kind of food that they made, we keep that within us, and it makes us feel good. You know, remembering the people who are not with us anymore, parents, grandparents, or any family member, their gift never goes away. And sometimes we think, oh, you know, I've made this dal sabji, nobody appreciates it, nobody cares, but you don't know how far that goes, that feeling, the positivity that you put into that food, and how they'll talk about you down the line and say, oh, you know what, my mum used to make this amazing food and I miss my mum just because she's not here to do that. So you don't know how far that actual ripple effect goes. It goes on for generations.
It does. But even though we couldn't thank you them at the time, when they're cooking for us, but in our hearts we carry that thank you with us for the rest of our lives.
And we tell our children about it, and our grandchildren. Your nanny was like this. So it doesn't just end in this lifetime.
So should we go on to the second gift?
So the second gift, your path in life is inspiring even when no one notices it. And this is so important. Nobody cares whether ਅਸੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ. And you know, ਕੋਈ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ ਆ, ਕੋਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ job ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵਧੀਆ, ਕੋਈ ਤਨਖਾਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ, somebody's got a beautiful house, beautiful car. The list is endless. So where we start to compare ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਐਵੇਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈ ਹਾਂ. But it doesn't matter. ਤੁਹਾਡੀ life, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਏ ਆ, God wanted you to be here. The people around you wanted to be here, and if you weren't here, you would be missed. Although when you're in that dark place, you might think, well, who's going to notice whether I'm here or not? But you don't know down the line, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇਸ life ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਕੀ ਸੀ, and how you're going to affect other people after you've got over this difficult point in your life.
So we have to remember that. Don't think that the only people that are inspiring or who have done well in their lives, they've got that 5-bedroom house, they've got that luxury sports car, they've got a good career, you know, they've got a brilliant relationship. You know, we think those people we get inspired by, who are famous, who've written stories, who've directed amazing movies, you know, who have done so much profit in their business. No, what we're trying to say here, that each one of us are inspirational people, because Sardivi's story is just as powerful, and we know we're powerful. Okay, we haven't got the lavish house, but we're powerful. We are inspiration to other people, where we've, through our challenges, through our बहुत मुश्किल दे वक्त विचों, that we become an inspirational to other people, that how we still get up and manage to get on with our lives. This is more powerful than having a big house or a luxury car. No, what's inspiring is that even through our difficult times, that we can still get up, smile, and continue living our lives.
Yeah, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ addiction ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, you know, if you've got a parent who's got some kind of addiction, you know, and you're trying to get over that addiction, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪੀਂਦਾ ਜਾਂ, you know, drugs ਖਾਂਦਾ, when you're in that environment, it's got to be the worst environment. But when that parent or child decides, you know what, मैं try करना है just to come away from that addiction, then that could be inspiring to somebody, either their children or somebody outside, who can see that, you know, that person was at rock bottom.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life you have to hit rock bottom in order to start getting back up, and that takes time. And that your story of being at rock bottom, because we hear a lot of stories, don't we, where people have hit rock bottom, that ottoi fe pata nahi Maharaj, you know, gives them such a good life because they've hit rock, and they've got so much more compassion. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਇਦਾਂ avare ਜਾਂ homeless people, they've hit rock bottom, but who knows what's supposed to be happening in a year or so to their life.
But this is what we find them so inspiring. I find a homeless person more inspiring than someone who's got a multi-millionaire business, because that person is homeless, he hit rock bottom, because sometimes, like I said, there's a blessing, you know, in everything, in all our challenges. Like I said, mitha hunda hi a. So that person, to become homeless, he had to break free from his old way of living, his old version of that person, so he can rebuild a new version of him. And sometimes, like you said, he had to become a new version. We have to let go of the old. There has to be a death of the old.
Yeah.
So for that homeless person, we sometimes they become inspiring to us, that even though they got nothing, but still they managed to get on with their lives. They're still in the depth of their darkness, sleeping in the cold. They still continue to live their lives. You know, we might say, what kind of a life is this? But no, they're showing you that no matter how dire the situation, बहुत ही मुश्किल situation, but they're still breathing and getting up and manage to feed themselves somehow, whatever way. So, you know, there's so many ways that people are an inspirational to us. Like, let's say, I can give an example with a woman who's separated from a partner, and she's got children, and she's left with no money, nothing. That woman then still builds her life. She still managed to educate her children. She still managed to give them the best possible life, to get them married. That is what I call a very inspiring person. She's an inspiration to the world, because through her depth of her difficulties, darkness, she still managed to survive and live a very fulfilling life. There's so many examples.
I mean, that example that you've just given, that would directly affect me. You know, I mean, I know we've spoken about our mom, my mom, but yeah, because her difficulties became my strength. So it's just like mom, you know, even though she went through that difficult time, she still said, "Hukum ya bi," you know, she still managed to come to a place of peace and tranquility. And you know, you've mentioned the children's hospital, you know, where somebody that you know works.
Yeah, somebody I knew that works in a children's hospital. I mean, literally, they just, you know, they could end their lives any minute. That's how difficult their health issues are. But it's the children that have to uplift the staff, the medical staff,
and
the children,
parents.
and the parents, because even though they know anything could happen to them, they're still the ones that smile and still become an inspiration to everybody else. You know, so it's interesting that it's people through challenges that are more are inspiration to the world than people who have everything, all the luxuries of their lives. So we all carry this inspiration that no matter what challenges, what mushkila we've been through, we are an inspiration to the world. And this is the gift. This is the gift that we carry, that we are inspiring to other people. We don't have to think other people are more inspirational than us. No, we are inspiring when we go through our difficult times.
Yeah, I mean, if you mention the children, you know, that child may not know the full impact. How my life's going to be, and in their innocence they would be saying, oh mom, dad, it'll be okay, I'll be all right, and that's all a parent needs to hear.
Yeah,
you know, because when we never want our children to be ill, because we'd rather have that illness ourselves.
But sometimes children are clever, but sometimes most children do know that they're going to go to heaven. They say that, but yet they're so brave, their courage, saying that I'm going to be okay, mom and dad, don't worry, I'm going to be okay, I'll be away, I'll be free of this pain, because they are in pain, these children. But yeah, and then on the courage to see dekho na under the shakti hai na. So look at them, their inspiration, but their inspiration is showing through their challenges. So I was going to talk about like when we watch movies.
Oh yeah.
It's just in movies like them, and we go 5-10 minutes into the movies and nothing dramatic is happening, no drama nahi ho raha.
We love drama.
Yeah, it's as humans do, because life is a drama. We're on a stage, we're all playing our roles, we're in our costumes, and we all come in this is your costume, this is my costume. But just in movie, they're 10 minutes in and nothing's really happening. We start thinking, oh my jabla, there's nothing, it's not an interesting movie. So maza nahi aa raha. But we're waiting for something to go wrong. We're waiting for some difficult challenge to, because then, wow, because we are all engraved in us that how does every person, how do they overcome this obstacle, this challenge? We're all driven to that, you know, and we want to know that in this movie, what is going to be the outcome? How they're actually going to deal with that situation. And this is with all of us in our lives, that we are driven to challenges, but we want to know how am I going to overcome this. And other people who can see that if we're going through a challenge, I wonder how they're going to deal with, wonder what's going to happen. Are they going to completely get drowned in it or just end? No, but there's something in us that it will say, don't give up, get up, don't give up, get up. You know, so that's part of human nature, that we do want to be involved in drama, in challenges, because there's something in that empowers us.
100%.
Empowers us to know, I've got this something in me that I want to connect with, the inner strength, this inner knowing that this is drive, this force, this powerful force that's actually allowed me to overcome this. If I can only connect with this force, I've actually confronted this challenge. And that's why we want to watch a movie, thinking what force are they going to connect with that's going to allow them to see a happy outcome.
And in a way, I mean, we wrote a couple of the films. We wrote Mother India, Gangubai, Bagh, Milka Bagh. If you haven't seen those films, they are very, very inspirational films, and they leave you feeling like, oh my God, how did that even happen? But they overcome so many challenges, but they still carried on. They never ever stopped. But
have
the
you watched
thing
Mother
is,
India?
I have. I love that film.
It's a brilliant movie.
One of the I think it won an Oscar. From what I remember.
I can imagine it. It's such an incredible story how this woman overcomes so much difficulties. And but even her children, how she brought them up, and the struggle. I always see that, you know, the bit with them where she's ploughing in the fields. It's a very good movie. But
again, but it just goes to show, when we connect with that, and this is what when we talk about our stories, then we're hoping that you can connect in some way and see the spiritual gift that we're sharing with you. And this is like a conscious, unconscious, because even though we write a lot of this stuff, it's done unconsciously. But even if in those films, those are spiritual gifts, because somebody had that idea of creating that film, and through that film, so many people in India, where they would have first been shown, will have felt so much inner strength, vitality, and thought, you know what, if she could have done that, or he could have done that, you know what, I can do this. And that's that's the most beautiful thing that anybody can give as a gift. So films are amazing because they reach so many people in so many different ways. But spiritual gifts can come in so many different forms, which is what we've already talked about. But sometimes it can be just a little message on Instagram or Facebook or somewhere where, you know, messages pop up. And sometimes it feels like they're speaking just to you.
I know it does.
It's mad, but if you're open to that, our message it could be for thousands of others, but at that specific time, it's affecting the person because you want to hear that and you need to hear it.
So I was thinking about that, and all of a sudden, the exact same message came, what I was focusing on, and that shows you how powerful our thoughts are. जो चीज़ ऐसी टेंशन दे रहे ध्यान दे रहे हैं वही चीज़ that we start experiencing right in front of us. But I want to also explain that we have a lot of people start to feel that they're meaningless, that their life has no value, their life is just a struggle because challenges आंदे रहंदे हैं. You know, एक चीज़ मैं सुधार दी हो, कोई challenge आ गया, कोई health issue, कोई घर दी कोई क्लेश or something. Now people start to feel that their life is just meaningless. It has no like I said, fun or laughter or any goodness in it. So the ones that start thinking, you know, मेरी life इतनी difficult है, I'm no good to anyone. What is there मेरे की गुन्या that I keep attracting these situations bar. But actually, it's interesting to know it's only through these constant challenges that we carry a gift in us. That through these challenges, the more we overcome them, the more it's just like we're creating a skill, we're mastering the skill that every challenge that comes, we find another way of overcoming it. And this is the gift that we become inspirational, you know, people to the rest of the world. Thinking, you know, I don't know how they do it, but they always got some issues going on, but they always seem to get up and get on with their life again. But don't socho that just because you got problems after problems that your life is just a waste of time, there's nothing good here. मेरी life waste हो गया. No, it's through your challenges that Rab is helping you to become an inspirational, you know, being to the rest of the world. It's the challenges that we say like, if you see to challenge and change into the word opportunity, is an opportunity for you to be an inspirational being to others in on this planet.
Yeah, I mean, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਔਖੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੀ ਲੰਘਦੇ ਆ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ you ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੋ ਦੱਸਦੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ oh my god how am I going to get out of this mess, you know, ਵੀ ਆਹ ਖਲਾਰਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕੁਝ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ. But there's a quote which I really like. God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. So ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਔਖੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਚ ਲੰਘਦੇ ਆ, the people around you are watching. They are looking at you. Sometimes, you know, God willing, the right people will come into your life and they will help, and those can be the spiritual gifts that we're talking about. You know, because you know how we're kind of trying to explain this is that nobody is ever alone, but sometimes you do have to go out and find not only the gift that's within you, but gift ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੋਰਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਟਰਾਈ ਕਰ ਲਓ, that's them, that's in a way it's like God's gift to you saying look, try this or try that. And the other most important thing I think is your difficult times, don't join them all up together, you know, separate them, because sometimes when you think of all of your difficult times, then it just feels like a big mushroom above your head that you can't get past, or a big cloud. So separate them and don't think, because each person that's trying to help you with their spiritual gift, they're trying to get you out of that kind of mindset of my life is just so like, and that's when you can start thinking that you don't matter to anybody, but you do matter because you're somebody's child, you're somebody's father, brother, sister, parent, grandparent. So you do have a role somewhere. You're an aunt, an uncle. You are important. No matter what your role is, you've come from someone at some point in your life.
I also think that Siadana Sanju jinne mere mushkilaniya challenges are mujhe koi saza meri hai, it's no punishment, because I also my opinion's changed about this, because we say that ਉਹਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਇੰਨੇ ਬੁਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਆਂਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ. I don't believe in that. I believe that ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ, ਰੱਬ has chosen them to be this person to show the world that no matter ਜਿੰਨੇ problems ਹੁੰਦੇ, how to overcome them. And we know some spiritual teachers and who've walked this planet, you know, spiritual, you know, we can say Sant Mahatmas or whatever, they've had mushkila, they've had challenges. It doesn't mean onne koi karam kharab sige that onne koi mushkil aa raha. We know some very powerful, you know, Sant Mahatmas, but they're just showing you that through them overcoming the mushkila or whatever, they became a powerful inspirational leaders, you know, and teachers to this world. But it didn't.
You could use Guru Gobind Singh Ji. You know, he lost all 4 of his sons, but that didn't stop him from carrying on.
No.
He still continued, and now
you can't say another karam koi kharab sige. They're not being punished.
So I think it's all about perspective. Jina asi dhyan dinde ha. I mean, Guru Gobind Singh Ji is such a beautiful example. So if we were to say, oh, unhone karam made kite hoge, then that just can't be true, because he lost all 4 of his sons. But he in his mind, he didn't lose them, because he gave them up for something which was the greater good of, you know, what was happening at that time.
But it's all about perspective. They say, okay, I lost 4, but look, I've got thousands of thousands of other sons. It's all about where you.
I love that.
Thodi soji hai na. It's that awareness is there. But I just don't believe sari to challenge sanu koi aisi koi pure karam kita sanu koi saja mil rahi hai. No, through our challenges, we're becoming sari gift through our challenges, that we are showing the world, being inspirational beings, that how we overcome them. We get up and we start again.
ਨਾਲੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਹਨਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਆ. You know, we may not want to. Maybe at the beginning ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੋਵਾਂਗੇ, oh, I'm so good, I'm so clever, I'm so this, and then ਕੋਈ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, and then that's your ego, isn't it? ਕਹਿਣਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਵੀ, oh, we're better than other people, ਤਾਂ ਕਦੇ ਐਡੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਸੱਟ ਵੱਜਦੀ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ, it brings you right back down, and then you realize, you know, that was a lesson for you to understand, to become more compassionate. कि तुसी प्यार ना बोलो, हलीमी ना बोलो, कि ऐदा करो, and that was the message within that challenge.
Exactly. And when I was saying earlier on that what you give out comes back, for me, in my own opinion, सारा कुछ अच्छा ही वापस आंदा. Even what you think that you done something bad, there's nothing you done bad. हमेशा अच्छा ही वापस आंदा. I don't think किसी ने कोई बुरा कोई कर्म आंदा. I don't believe that, because सारे च रब वास्ता है. You know, so whatever we do, whatever challenge we go, that's Rab is just using us to be inspirational and people to learn and grow, and that's how we grow and evolve through our challenges. As you're just being happy all the time, we don't evolve. You know, so sometimes we here to experience the contrast, the good and the bad, but the bad, the which with goodness.
Because ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ something happens to us, the ਸਾਡੀ life change ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, that's when we're learning something, you know, and we both believe as coaches that there isn't good and bad. We just think there's lessons and there's growth. ਤਾਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ, sometimes ਕਦੇ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ we're having those same lessons again and again, ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੱਬ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਆ. No, it could just be that you're not learning or understanding what the message is.
You're probably learning bits of it, and then we get and then it comes back. But then, like when we always talk about it, oh, there's another layer of learning here. I understood it that way before, but now understanding even deeper, and then it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. So it will keep coming back until you realize at the end, well, I don't think there's anything such as the end, because there's ongoing learning, but it always comes back to
love.
Comes back to love. Always comes back to love. Everything, you know, the answer to everything in our life is love, and love for yourself. And when you can truly love yourself, and that means loving everything about you, all the things that we might have judged and criticized, then that we find solution everywhere outside of us.
And then je tusi apne aap nu pyar karde, I mean, we can talk about this all day long. We could spend 24 hours talking about this, because we talk about it in a way that we want to share our feelings around love, where if we truly love who we are, that's when we can be our true authentic self with others.
Yeah.
Because we're showing ਅਸੀਂ ਦਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਚ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਕਮੀਆਂ ਆ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਬੁਰਾ. I mean, I can't think of the quote, but you know, nobody's yes, that's the one. Yeah. So if we're all saying we've all got ਸਾਡੇ ਹਰੇਕ ਚ ਕਮੀਆਂ ਆ ਹਰੇਕ ਚ ਖੂਬੀਆਂ ਆ, then ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਰੀਏ, then nobody would be upset with us, and we would be fulfilled in our own life knowing that we can just be authentic all the time.
Yes, and just remember, Rab won't give you anything you can't handle.
Yeah.
Because you know, Rab knows how much we can handle. Sometimes it looks like bahut zyada, you know, mere te boj aa gaya, but sometimes we need that extra, because then we can really raise it under. I didn't know how strong I was until I didn't actually experience this extra boj. And then it's like it says, every day the more we handle that boj, the more we become more, like you said, powerful in ourselves, and we start to build self-confidence, we start to praise ourselves, we start to actually appreciating ourselves, thinking, oh my God, I actually got through that. And we can think about things in the past and thinking, some things have happened to me recently that if it happened to me in the past, how I dealt with it, so in a much more, I suppose, more painful way. But now the same thing coming again, I'm thinking, wow, it's a similar sort of theme, but yet I'm dealing with it much better.
So don't forget, touching people's hearts when you are not aware of it, and even when no one says thank you, that is the first spiritual gift that we have been talking about. And the second gift is your path in life is inspiring, even when no one notices. So no matter what you're going through, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, please don't give up. Look at what the solutions are, what the lesson is. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਸਿਖਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. And you are important to every single person around you. We're all important, and we are all capable of amazing, beautiful things, if that's what we want in our life.
Yes.
So
so next week we'll talk about 2 more spiritual gifts, and we'll go into much more in depth with them. But umeed hai tusi sare sada show pasand aaya.
Bahut zyada enjoy kiya, thoda nahi.
Okay, so anyway, pyar karo, haso te jug jug jiyo. Thank you.